I have the problems 1/6 plus 3/4. I cannot add them the way they're currently written because they do not have the same denominator. So I'm going to find the least common denominator for 6 and 4. Look, 12 is my common denominator. I need these both to be over 12. Neither one of them is, so I'm going to have to multiply by a fraction that equals 12. 6 times what is 12? 2. I need my fraction to be equal to 1, so it has to be 2 over 2. 1 times 2 is 2. I need this one to be multiplied by something that equals 1. 4 times what is 12? 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 2/12 plus 9/12 is 11/12. I want to see if I can simplify it. My factors for 11 are 1 times 11. It is prime, so it doesn't have any other factors. If I didn't erase all my work, I already have 12 done. But it's 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. They have a 1 in common. They have nothing else in common. And so if they have a 1 in common, this is already in simplest form. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Test prep, start video 2. 1/2 minus 1/3. I start by asking myself, can I subtract these problems as they're currently written? Myself answers no. Myself says why? Myself says because they don't have the same denominator. So I need to find the least common denominator for 2 and 3. If you have your multiplication chart, all you got to do is look at your multiplication chart and find the first one that shows up in both of them, which in this case is 6. So 6 is going to be my least common denominator. So I'm going to change these so that they both have a denominator of 6. Change them so they both have a denominator of 6. I need to multiply by a fraction that equals 1. And I ask 2 times what is 6? Well, 2 times 3 is 6. Since I need my fraction to equal 1, I make it 3 over 3. When I'm multiplying fractions, 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 3 is 3. And then I have to multiply by another fraction that equals 1 here. 3 times what is 6? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. And I need this to be a fraction that equals 1, so I get 2 over 2. 1 times 2 is 2. I always go back and I find my sign. So I have 3/6 minus 2/6. And my answer is 1/6. If my numerator is 1, I cannot simplify this anymore. So since my numerator is 1, that means 1/6 is the simplest form as I can get. I have 11/12 minus 2/3. I cannot subtract them the way they're written because they don't have the same denominator. If I find my least common denominator, or LCD, for 12 and 3, that'd be 6, that'd be 9, now 2, that's 3, that's 4, and that's 12. 12 is my least common denominator. So I want these both to have a denominator of 12. This one already does. This one, however, doesn't. So I need to multiply by a fraction that equals 1. 3 times what is 12? Well, I've done my work over there. 3 times 4 is 12. So I need this to be 4 over 4, because 4 over 4 equals 1. Anytime the numerator and denominator are the same, that equals 1. 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 4 is 8. Now I go back and I check my sign. 11 twelfths minus 8 twelfths is 3 twelfths. I need to see if I can simplify that. I do that by finding the factors of my numerator and denominator. So the factors of 3 are 1 and 3. That's it. Since it has exactly 2 factors, it is a prime number. 12, we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. They have a 1 in common. They have a 3 in common. Since they have something besides 1 in common, I divide by the biggest one they have in common, and I get 1/4. So my simplified answer is 1/4. 7/8 minus 1/4. I cannot subtract them the way they are currently written because they don't have the same denominator. If I'm going to find my least common denominator, I can take my denominators 8 and 4, and I see that 8 is the first one that shows up in both rows. You can also use a multiplication chart for this if you have one. So I need these both to be over 8. 7/8 is already over 8. I need this to be over 8. So I multiply by a fraction that equals 1. 4 times what equals 8? Well, I can always look over here. 4 times 2 is 8. So I need to make it 2/2, because 2/2 is a fraction that equals 1. Because if the numerator and denominator are the same, the fraction equals 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 7/8, look at my sign, minus 1/8, or 7/8 minus 2/8 is 5/8. I need to see if I can simplify that. I list the factors of 5 and the factors of 8. Factors of 5 are 1 and 5. It only has 2 factors because it's prime. 8 has 1 and 8, 2 and 4. The only thing they have in common is 1. If that's all they have in common, that fraction is in simplest form already. 1/3 plus 1/6. I ask myself, can I add those the way they're currently written? Myself says no, because you cannot add them if they do not have the same denominator. So I take my fraction, or my denominators of 3 and 6. I see the first one they have in common is 6. So I need my denominators to be 6 for both of these. Now that's already 6. I have to multiply by what fraction that equals 1 because I don't want to change the value. Anytime I multiply something by 1, the value stays the same. 3 times 2 is 6. So I have to do 2/2 because 2/2 is a fraction that equals 1 because the numerator and denominator are the same. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. This is an addition problem. 2/6 plus 1/6 is 3/6. Got to find my factors to see if I can simplify it. We've already done 3. Hopefully you have it on your paper. You don't erase when you're done with something. And since 3 is prime, it only has 2 factors, 1 and 3. I do 6. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. They have a 1 in common. They have a 3 in common. 3 is the biggest one they have in common. If I divide these both by 3, I get 1/2. So 1/2 would be my correct answer. 1/2. 2/3 plus 3/4. Can I add them the way they are? No, I cannot add them the way they are because they do not have the same denominator. If I have a multiplication chart, I can look in the row that starts with 3 and the row that starts with 4 and find the first one they have in common, which is 12. So if I change these both over 12, because I need to have that common denominator, but I can't change the value. So if I multiply these by a fraction that equals 1, 3 times what is 12? Well, that's 4. So I need to multiply it by 4/4 because 4/4 equals 1. 2 times 4 is 8. I need to multiply this by a fraction that equals 1. 4 times what is 12? 4 times 3 is 12. So 3/3. So 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. I go back and look. It's an addition problem. So I get 17/12. Now if I want to use decomposing, I can say it's 12/12 plus 5/12. See, I decomposed that and I broke it up into 12/12 plus 5/12. Well, 12/12 equals 1. So then I have 1 and 5/12. 1 and 5/12.